Hey everyone, it's Kim Record. Is social media affecting your body image in a negative way? Well, if recent studies have anything to say about it, chances are the answer is probably yes. And unfortunately, sometimes we're not even aware of it. So it's something that's been on my mind quite a bit recently. And it's also the basis of my body love tip this week, which is to try a social media cleanse. What is a social media cleanse? Well, just like, sometimes we need to cleanse our bodies because they get overloaded with toxins from our food and the environment. Well, we also need to cleanse our minds and, cleanse our minds of toxic thoughts and negative self-talk and distractions. Meditation's a great way to do that, but, sometimes we need to take it even a step further. And social media is one of the biggest sources of distractions, and for a lot of people, the negative self-talk and self-doubt. So when we take a social media cleanse, what does this do for us? Well, first of all, it gives us an opportunity to reconnect with who we are, what we have to offer, what are our gifts and our strengths and our passions and purpose, and what do we love to do, what lifts us up. These are the things that we don't always get an opportunity to focus on, especially when we're so distracted by what's happening outside of ourselves. A lot of times the standards are set by, usually by mainstream media, especially about our appearance, right? So the standards get set by mainstream media, but they get perpetuated in social media by what people post and like and how they filter out their, images to look a certain way. And it's all good. But, what we forget to think about oftentimes is that what we see on social media is not always real. It's just, it's the surface level stuff. It's the best of people. We see the best of their lives, the best of their relationships, the best of their bodies. And we're not seeing all the other shit that's going on. We don't see the struggles. We don't see the pain. We don't see the flaws all the time. People just don't show those, and that's okay. We don't always necessarily need to see that, but we need to remember that, what we're seeing is not real. So we can't fairly compare ourselves to what we're seeing in social media, but oftentimes we do. We fall into that sort of compare and despair syndrome. So as long as, when we take that bit of a break from social media, it helps us to remember that. We also get a chance to set our own standards. Again, when we're getting reconnected with who we are, what are our own standards? So we're not buying into what we're seeing everywhere else. We just get reconnected with who we are. What are our own standards? And I did the social media cleanse not that long ago, a couple weekends ago, and I also found that it gave me an immense amount of extra time to focus on the other things, like the things I love to do and my gifts and my strengths and all of that great stuff. I also took a lot more time to write, and it gave me time to focus on my self-care. So I got to spend a lot of time just nurturing myself, nurturing my body, and it felt fantastic. So, think of all the time that you spend on social media throughout the day. Add up all those minutes, and not just the minutes that you actually spend on your news feed or, scrolling through pictures and updates, but the time that it takes you to come back into your life, come back into reality, because a lot of times that takes just as much time as scrolling through your newsfeed does. So I urge you, give it a try for a few days. Turn that phone on airplane mode and cut yourself off from that distraction for a little while, and get reconnected to yourself so you can have a strong foundation, so that when you are out there and you're using social media, it's a wonderful outlet for creating connections and community with people, as long as we don't take it to that next level and get into that really harmful comparison mode. So if you do take on this challenge, I'd love to hear how it goes. And you can leave me a comment on social media once you're done your cleanse, or you can send me an email directly. I'd really love to hear from you. And I've also included some more examples from my own life in my blog article this week, and I'll include the link to that as well if you want to take a bit more of a read. So until next week, have an amazing week, and we'll see you soon.